although we are still in a pandemic, what was the most important lesson learned from transitioning to a virtual environment?
I would say the most important lesson that I have learned is to be creative. Like, you have to be creative when you just are restricted, when you have to work from home to try and keep the students engaged and try and but you want to keep them engaged. You don't want to make the work too easy. You still want it to be challenging as well, but you also don't want to, set them up for failure. So I would say being creative.
Awesome. Thank you. Ms. Smith?
I would agree with that, but for us, it was, I think, initially, it was very eye-opening that we had to be creative in a different way, because we very quickly realized that while the internet is prevalent and everyone seems to have access, not everyone does. Mm-hmm. Students they couldn't pay a bill to get internet. They didn't have laptops or computers at home. They had to go to public areas to try to get Wi-Fi signals. So that just was, I think, very eye-opening for us.
Yeah. And I think really throughout all of this, I think in my mind, to your point, Ms. Smith, in my mind, I made a lot of assumptions of what I thought students had or what I thought that they knew, right? And I think as an educator, it was really, as a higher education practitioner, it was really eye-opening, because I didn't realize that we really provide a literal way out and so many resources to students. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Kind of to your point. So that's why I'm very much so, I go down to the basics now, right? I have a Screen-O-Matic account where I literally show students via video how to do things. This is what office hours are. This is how you use Blackboard. This is how you whatever. I don't assume anything anymore. Like, I don't assume that students know certain things, and I don't assume that they have certain things like the internet or access to anything that I ask them to do. You know what I mean? So always having a plan A through C is what I learned out of the pandemic.
And I'll just like to add to that, Ms. Alexander, even from our earlier session where I forgot exactly what university, they were saying that they didn't realize that they had homeless students on campus. So this campuses are, a home for most of our students that attend here. So we have to be very mindful of that. So if I was to say anything that I learned from transition into is grace and patience. Those were the two things that I learned from here, because I really had to pay attention to that and be patient with understanding our student population and even my colleagues that I work with. So that's what I took away, grace and patience.
So we would like to thank you both for coming. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it.